The Storm Order is a realm of tempests, its skies torn by lightning and its cliffs battered by endless winds. Among its greatest dynasties stands the stormfang line, a name spoken with respect, fear, and awe across the five orders. The current patriarch, Verathos Stormfang, is a warrior of relentless will, who rose to power by striking down the tyrant who preceded him. The previous patriarch was a brute stronger than any challenger, despised by all yet unopposed until Verathos invoked the trial by combat. In a duel of sky and flame, he ended the tyrant's reign and claimed the mantle of patriarch. His victory restored the honor of the Storm Order, and his first decree was to name his younger brother, Veldora Stormfang, to the Council of Elders. Where Verathos is the blade of the dynasty, Veldora is its shield. An elder dragon, longest-serving member of the council, he is revered for his wisdom, patience, and unwavering loyalty to his family. Though he never sought the throne, his influence is undeniable, his name etched into the laws and traditions that keep Storm Order steady. Yet the Stormfang bloodline is not without scandal. Veldora's wife, Nemira Stormfang, was born of the Shadow Order. Once, she was among Shadow's most gifted assassins, trained to pierce the hearts of Storm Knights and unravel their secrets. But Shadow betrayed her long before she was captured, her own mother slain. By the order she served, her life poisoned by cruelty and mistrust. When her attempt to strike at Storm failed, she was taken alive and interrogated. Nemira revealed all she knew of Shadow's hidden blades. But rather than execution, the patriarch offered her a chance at new life. The elders refused her, fearing corruption, yet Veldora stepped forward. He took her hand, not only in guardianship, but in marriage. Against all odds, a union of storm and shadow was forged. For years, assassins tried to end her life. They failed, time and again, until even the Shadow Order abandoned their attempts. Her defiance became legend. From this union was born Alex Stormfang, a child destined to walk between two worlds. At 12 years old, his name is already whispered in the corridors of Stormspire. To most, he is but a boy, but to his parents, he is the heir to two legacies. Veldora and Nemira tested him constantly as he grew, fearing he might be talentless or worse. A disappointment to the Stormfang name. They watched his mind, his hands, his eyes, and were astonished. Alex proved gifted in ways subtle yet undeniable. A sharp memory, quick reflexes, and a mind that grasped patterns and strategies far beyond his years. He absorbed knowledge as easily as others breathed, passing every trial his parents set before him. What he lacked in raw power, he compensated with wit. What he lacked in age, he carried in awareness. To Veldora, this was the mind of a leader. To Nemira, it was the spirit of a survivor. At 11 years of age, most dragonborn heirs were still children indulged by their parents, too young for discipline, too old to be treated as hatchlings. But Alex Stormfang was no ordinary child, and his father, Veldora Stormfang, had no intention of wasting time. "You will build your foundation now," his father told him, voice like rolling thunder. "Your first task is to take a humanoid form. If you can stand on 2 feet, even clumsy and unsteady, it will be progress. Without this, the rest of your lessons mean nothing." Most children of the orders did not begin this training until their 14th year. But Veldora was an elder dragon. He knew too well the price of delay. A dragon who could not shift swiftly into humanoid form was vulnerable, crippled in combat against mortal magi. So the boy began early. At first, Alex struggled. The power of the storm ran in his blood, but control required patience, focus, and endless practice. His parents tested him daily, demanding effort until exhaustion. 4 months later, Alex stood before them in a form no one had expected so soon. The boy's body shimmered, bones and sinew bending, scales folding inward until he emerged upright, a boy with human frame, draconic eyes burning bright, horns crowning his head, and a tail swaying behind him. Veldora's stern face softened with pride. "Good," he said, placing a massive hand upon his son's shoulder. "Very good." Alex smirked to himself, though he kept it hidden. The months passed. The training continued. At the end of his first year of practice, Alex stood taller, sharper, and when his father looked upon him, he saw a form nearly perfected. Only his draconic eyes and his horns remained. The tail had vanished, absorbed into the elegance of his humanoid frame. The halls of the Storm Order whispered his name. No child had ever come so close to perfect form so young. Elders gossiped in disbelief. Knights scowled with envy. And Veldora Stormfang walked with his head held higher than ever, the pride of a father and an elder radiating like a storm before dawn. When Alex returned to his chambers that evening, his father awaited him with parchment in hand. "Your schedule," Veldora said firmly. "You've proven your body can shape itself. Now your mind must match it. From tomorrow, you will study the history of the Order of Storm, literature of the 5 orders, the basics of combat, and the theory of magic." Alex bowed, accepting. But before his father turned to leave, curiosity gnawed at him. "Father," he asked, tilting his head, "why is it so important to shift? You've shown me what dragons can do. From the sky you could burn everything. Why trouble yourself with walking as a man?" Veldora paused. Slowly, he turned, his eyes gleaming like lightning under cloud. "It is important because strength is not enough," he said. "Imagine this. You are a great dragon in your true form fighting a human mage. He slips into your blind spots, striking where your claws cannot reach, where your flame cannot sear. Each spell cuts at your wings, at your heart, and you cannot react fast enough. That, Alex, is how legends die." He stepped closer, lowering his voice so only his son could hear. "It is not simply about the ability to shift. It is about speed, mastery, to switch between forms. Without thought, dragon and man, storm and lightning, in an instant. In your true form, you can crush armies. In your humanoid form, you can strike a single foe with precision. A warrior who can wield both without hesitation is invincible." The elder dragon turned and left, his steps heavy with purpose, leaving Alex alone with his thoughts. The boy's eyes narrowed, the weight of his father's words sinking into him. To master the storm, I must master both halves of myself. And so the trials of Alex Stormfang's childhood began in earnest. The sun had barely crested the cliffs of Stormspire when Nymeria Stormfang roused her son. "Up," she said, her shadow-touched eyes watching him with a softness she rarely showed others. "Breakfast, bath, then lessons. Discipline, Alex. It will build you as much as strength." Alex groaned, rubbing sleep from his eyes, but obeyed. He had long since learned that his mother's words were not suggestions. The days fell into rhythm. Morning meals, cleansing baths, then hours spent in study. He learned the histories of the Storm Order, its dynasties, its wars, its triumphs and failings. He copied literature from Frost and Stone, recited fire epics, and debated passages of philosophy from shadow texts. By afternoon, he drilled in sword forms, footwork, and strikes with wooden blades. Evenings closed with lectures in magic theory, the weaving of energies, the balance of flow, the dangers of corruption. For weeks he worked without complaint, mind sharp, body weary, spirit hardening. He knew his father expected nothing less than perfection, and his mother silently measured every stumble. But one day, as he left the training yard, Alex found his father waiting at the gate. The air around Veldora Stormfang crackled faintly, as though even his presence carried the echo of thunder. "Son," Veldora rumbled, "I will be taking part of your combat training from now on. You will continue your sword practices, but when you finish, you come to me." Alex bowed his head. "Yes, father." Veldora stood before him in a circle carved with storm runes, arms crossed. "Today you learn not basic combat, but storm combat. Sword and shield make you a knight, but lightning makes you a storm dragon." He raised one hand and sparks crawled across his palm. "It begins with a spark. Not from breath, not from wings, but from within. You will not channel your power outward as flame. You will ignite your body, your blood, your bones, until lightning lives in you." The training was brutal. For weeks, Alex left the yard trembling, his muscles burning with exhaustion. His father's voice echoed over him again and again. "Focus! Feel the storm in your chest. Do not force it. Breathe, listen, then command." A month passed before it came. The spark. One evening, while rain lashed the fortress walls, Alex felt it in his core, a flicker of energy that answered his will. Sparks danced across his fingertips, faint but alive. His eyes widened as the storm finally answered him. Across from him, his father smiled. Not a small smile, but one of fierce pride. "Yes, that's it, my boy. That is the spark. Now, we shape it." From that moment, Veldora's lessons intensified. Day after day, he drilled his son mercilessly. Sparks grew into crawling streaks of lightning along Alex's arms. A week later, they reached his shoulders, crackling across his torso. 2 weeks more, and his entire body glowed with faint arcs of stormlight. By year's end, Alex stood before his father and shifted, lightning coursing across his skin in steady waves. His horns shimmered faintly. His eyes glowed like storm fire. He clenched his fists and sparks leapt between them. Veldora's chest swelled with pride. He placed a heavy hand on his son's shoulder and spoke words that would echo in Alex's memory for the rest of his life. "That's it, my boy. Show them. Show them what a true dragon can do." He bowed, breath ragged but eyes alight with fire. He had endured. He had awakened. And he grew closer to the storm that bore his name. One evening, as the storm winds howled against the high cliffs of Stormspire, Alex was summoned by his mother. He found her in the quiet chambers draped in dark silks, where the lamps burned low and the walls seemed to breathe with shadow. "Mother, you called?" Namira sat poised, her presence as graceful and dangerous as the night itself. She smiled faintly, eyes gleaming with a secret light. "Yes, Alex," she said. "For the next year you will take lessons from me. Your father builds your strength and discipline, and I will sharpen your senses. I will teach you how to detect lies, how to feel the weight of shadows, and how to conduct yourself in politics. Without these, strength is blind. With them, strength becomes power." So Alex's days grew longer. By day, he continued his studies of history, literature, sword work, and storm combat. But when night fell, he entered his mother's domain. The lessons began subtly. She would sit with him across a table, voice calm and soft, testing him with questions. Some answers were truths, others woven with lies. She taught him to hear the tremor in tone, to notice the flicker in eyes, the twitch of lips. "Words lie," she told him, "but shadows never do. Trust what you feel beneath the surface." Weeks passed, and the lessons deepened. One night, Namira extended her hand and pressed it against his chest. Her eyes widened. "You," she whispered. "You have it." Alex blinked. "Have what?" "Shadow. It is in you, Alex. You carry not only your father's storm, but my night as well." For a rare moment, her composure faltered. She pulled him into a sudden embrace, holding him so tightly he nearly lost his balance. "Mother," he stammered, nearly toppling. She laughed softly, warmth breaking through her usual severity. "Now I can truly train you." From that night forward, the lessons became harsher. She showed him the concept of shadow magic, how to draw upon the unseen, how to let the darkness move with him rather than against him. He learned to step lightly, to let silence cloak his body, to feel the ripples of energy that lingered where shadow touched the world. For 3 months, she tested him relentlessly. Sometimes she would vanish in mid-conversation, dissolving into the darkness of the chamber, striking at him from unexpected angles. At other times, she would wait for him to relax, to eat, to rest, and then spring her feints, sudden as daggers in the dark. But Alex noticed the whisper of air as her cloak moved, the flicker of a shadow too sharp in the lamplight, the faint prickle along his skin when she gathered shadow around her. He began to feel them before they happened, as if a sixth sense had awoken in him. Once, when she lunged from behind while he bent over his texts, Alex turned without thought and caught her wrist. Namira froze, then slowly smiled, her eyes gleaming with pride. "Yes," she said softly. "That's it, my son. The storm in you sees the light. The shadow in you feels the dark. Together, they will make you something no dragon has ever been before." And so, as his father drilled lightning into his veins by day, his mother wove shadow into his senses by night. Between the two, Alex grew into something more than child, more than air. He was becoming the storm at dusk, where lightning and shadow danced as one. The day came when Veldora and Namira judged the walls of Stormspire, too fragile to contain their son's growth. Too many eyes followed him, already elders whispering, knights glaring with envy, servants gossiping of sparks and shadows in the training yards. So one morning, Alex's wings spread and took flight beside his parents. Together, they flew beyond the cliffs, leaving Stormspire behind, soaring over valleys and rivers until they reached a lonely mountain range where no watchful eyes could intrude. There, amid jagged peaks and hollow caverns, his training entered a new stage. "Your spark is no longer enough," Veldora rumbled as they landed upon a barren ridge. "Now, you must breathe as a dragon does, not only in your true form, but in every form." Alex's chest tightened with anticipation. To wield the breath of dragons was to claim their heritage, to become more than air. It was the mark of adulthood,